Hello there. So I am back with more video stuff, more Minecraft actually, and I'd like to actually talk about a more serious topic, I guess. Talking about what it's kind of like to how it kind of like to make friends when you're a young adult. Because it changes a lot when you're younger as in school. And yeah, just so something I think that's weird when you're getting older is the fact that making friends goes from being the easiest thing in the world to feeling almost impossible. When you're a kid, you well, am I? Oh, okay. Um, Having a friendship just kind of comes naturally and quite easily. But like you're in school, you sit next to someone, you just kind of become friends. There's not really anything behind it, nothing special, and it comes easily. Whereas now you could be working with someone for like a year, 2 years, and you still don't really know if you could be calling them friends or if they're just being polite to you, or if you're being just polite to them. It's a two-way street. I'm being poisoned, and I don't know why. Um, but I just think nobody really talks about or prepares you for and I'm dead. Okay. Um, let's do something new. Nobody really prepares you for how lonely you can get in your early 20s specifically, or just young adulthood in general. Because, like, technically, you know lots of people. You've got old people you used to be friends with from school, college, and things like that. Um, you've got family friends, even co-workers, um, people you'll like message every couple of months just see how things are going, catching up with people. But having actual close friends, someone you can just randomly call, or someone you don't have to schedule a month in advance to actually be able to see. That number, the amount of those kind of friends becomes a really small amount really quickly. And honestly, I think part of the reason it hits so differently um, now is because everyone acts like they are socially fulfilled and they all have those kind of friends. They have plenty of them. Um, you open Instagram or Facebook, whatever you like to use. I don't really know anyone that uses Facebook, but Instagram, whatever, and you see people on their stories going out to parties and having matching outfits and silly things like this. I'm spending a birthday party with some friends, um, large gatherings, going out to concerts, that kind of thing. Um, while half of us are sat in our room just watching YouTube videos, the same ones over and over again, wondering if it's too late to actually send someone a message. And the worst part is the later it gets, the more you start to blame yourself for for being so lonely and not being able to have those close friends. You could start thinking you're boring or people don't genuinely like you. But the older and the longer I spend in this feeling, the more I kind of realize I'm not the only person, and a lot of my other friends are the same. Adulthood just seems to remove forced friendships. Like school used to do all the work where you'd see the same people every day and you naturally just kind of build a life around someone. But now everyone's too busy. Too busy trying to work, make money, and have other relationships and focus on the mental health. Um, you have even the pressures of your family. There's just so many things, so many dynamics into life now that there just didn't barriers that didn't used to be there. Everyone's always tired, looking for, or just having that excuse and always wanting to lie down and relax. And making new friends now suddenly feels weirdly like intimate, I guess. It's in your 20s, asking someone to hang out. It feels like you're asking them for a date, even just to hang out, because you just overthink everything. Um, you're doing too much. Do they actually want to hang out? That kind of thing. It becomes a lot just to decide whether or not you actually want to be friends with someone. You might think you're annoying them just by asking, but it just creates problems that aren't there and develops that level of loneliness because you're just blocking yourself off from other people. And then there's the whole issue of surface level friendships. Meet people all the time, but it's really rare to actually be able to relax around certain people. Around people you call your friends. People you don't have to perform and put on like a character for. Um, that's another thing that just seems to be exhausting at this point is constantly feeling like you have to kind of like market yourself like you go into a job interview and you've got to show yourself off every time you meet someone new. Um, you always have to be funny, interesting, successful enough. That's sort of feels like. And eventually you kind of get into these conversations with people that end up just feeling like you're in a competition. Um, who's better off, who's more productive, who actually seems to have their life together. When it isn't and shouldn't be like that at all. But a lot of people are actually pretending. I think some of the most lonely people are the people that look social online. Because being surrounded by people and feeling understood are two very different things. And to be honest, losing friends in your 20s hurts in a very different way. Because it's not like you're having a big fallout like you would as a teenager or anything like that. Not that I really do, but I know some people have that kind of thing. But it's more so just drifting and slowly falling apart. Like days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months, so you just no speaking. And then a year, and then eventually it's just a stranger and you don't speak to that person ever again. You may see the occasional post from them, but nothing really more than that. And then that's it. That's the end of someone who used to be close to you. And that part of losing a friend is it's rough. Especially when you think certain people are going to be in your life for a long time. But I think it's overall it can end up being a good thing because it can end up helping you it can end up helping you learn that it's not all about just the amount of people you're friends with, not the quantity, but how good they are, the quality of them. Like when you're younger, you care about having a big group of friends, um, just so you can hang around in a big group and say that you've got lots of friends. But now, kind of realize having even one person you can fully be yourself around is actually rare. Um, and I think adult friendships are built a lot slower than when you were a kid. They're less instant. They're usually quite awkward at first, and they're much more intentional. It's always like slowly meeting the person, asking them. Eventually, you ask them how to contact them through text or Instagram or however you do it, um, and then actively making an effort for people, inviting people out and checking in on people, because not I don't really hear much people say anything about this kind of thing, but a lot of friendships as an adult end up failing before they even start because both people are just waiting for the other person to make the first move, to make that first effort. And while you could get rejected, they might not want to be your friend. It does suck. You know, it's the same feeling as feeling left out, or just even just being replaced, or that kind of thing. But I've often learned that isolating yourself and staying away from everyone in general to avoid that kind of feeling is so much worse. It sucks so much worse. I learned it after way too long of kind of self-isolating and avoiding as many people as I could, and self-sabotaging friendships and my relationships with people. And I think a lot of people are secretly waiting for a connection, but acting emotionally available at the same time. So it's super counterintuitive, and it just doesn't work like that. You've got to put yourself out there and make that effort. But and honestly, I'm one of those people do. I do the same thing. But if you're going through that kind of thing, um, it's a lot more normal than you think. Being scared of just interacting with people and having those first steps, even with just friendships. It doesn't have to be anything special. Just becoming friends with people. Because at this point in your life, it's a very strange time. You know, you're learning a lot about yourself, a lot about your likes, and where you're going to be in the future. And everybody pretends to have their own plan, but nobody really knows what's going to happen. Some people just hide their some people pretend and hide it better than others. Eventually, I think everyone's going to find, you know, their group of friends, their people, and just things like that. But usually when you try and stop looking for that kind of thing, it comes along. Both with relationships and friendships, and you start to actually act like yourself in front of people, and that's the best way to go around it, go about it. Best way you're going to get a real connection out of someone. They just see you for you. Anyway, I know I kind of haven't done anything in the gameplay side of what's going on, but I'm gonna end it here. I think I talked about everything I want to talk about. I want to keep this a bit more concise than usual. So I much appreciate anyone listening. And I hope this helped anyone or made them feel a bit better about themselves. And have a good day. Goodbye.